had some.
Hey, Ebony, I'm outside in front of your apartment, so let's go.
Lord God. And forgiveness is what you preach. Unconditional love is what you teach. And I just want to be an example. I am a sinner saved by your grace.
Weary day.
Back to that breaking news we brought you at the top of the hour. The U.S. Attorney's Office just announced Charlotte City Councilmember Tiawana Brown has been federally indicted. She's accused of falsely obtaining more than $124,000 in COVID pandemic relief funds.
There's a new scandal brewing in Charlotte, and this one's got it all: politics, money, and a federal indictment. The star of this real-life reality show is Tiawana Brown, an advocate turned Charlotte politician who went from being an OG city girl with a sketchy past to somehow becoming a city council member. Yeah, she but-God her way into office, preaching like a devout Christian, with her major concern being advocating for Black female criminals.
Are the women set up on a different date to get visits? Or do you guys all have the same visiting day? And he said to me, women don't get visits here. They don't have that support. We all have the same visiting day. That's an example of women being left out, being mistreated, forgotten about. When I think of Michelle West and her case, I know that her case supports the unequal aspects of our criminal justice system, how they discriminate against women, particularly Black women. If Michelle had been a Black man, she'd already be home. She'd already be free.
But behind the holy persona, she's not just scamming voters, she's scamming the federal government too. And now, the feds have officially indicted her for PPP fraud. And let me tell you, this OG city girl isn't only taking herself down, but she's made it a family affair. She's bringing her 2 daughters along with her. We're going to get into it, but first, take a second to make sure you're subscribed to the channel and click the notification bell for all updates. If you're watching from Charlotte or anywhere in North Carolina, drop NC below in the comments. Won't waste any time. Let's go ahead and get into it.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us live on WCNC Plus at 8:30. I'm Megan Bragg for Ben.
And I'm Lisa Washington. Charlotte District 3 Councilmember Tiawana Brown has been indicted on federal charges. This is breaking news into our newsroom just moments ago. The Department of Justice released information claiming that Brown, along with her daughters, allegedly defrauded COVID relief programs to obtain more than $124,000 in pandemic aid. The indictment claims they filed at least 15 fraudulent loan applications between April of 2020 and September of 2021 using fake tax forms and false documentation. Federal prosecutors say that money was used for personal spending, including $15,000 for a birthday party for Brown. The indictment includes 3 arrest warrants for Brown and her daughters. We have confirmed one of those loans, more than $20,000, was forgiven through the PPP program for business registered to Brown. Brown released a statement this morning saying the alleged events happened years ago and have nothing to do with her time on Charlotte City Council. She calls this a deliberate effort to interfere with her re-election. She added, quote, "I trust in the legal process and am confident that the truth will come to light." She tells WCNC Charlotte she has no intention of resigning and plans to fight the charges because she is innocent.
No, she's full of it. She's up here trying to act like it's all political, but it was a Biden administration that opened the investigation on Tiawana. Yeah, the current U.S. attorney that was appointed a couple of months ago said they inherited this case. The last administration had already been investigating the OG City Girl Councilwoman for years now, building this case. But somehow, although she's the one running the fraud that she also pulled her daughters in, she's somehow a victim.
Couple of things. It's not just Tiawana Brown, family members. Let's talk about a federal indictment. What is that, and what are we looking at here?
Well, a federal indictment is handed up. It's not handed down. You will take it in front of a grand jury, and the grand jury will make a determination if the evidence that was presented by the U.S. attorney at the time was enough to bring forth charges, and then in this case it was. And so think of it as a mini trial where they were presenting evidence. There's no defense, though. So this is only the prosecutor presenting their case. You know, I'd say they're presenting their case maybe to like a elementary school level, where I'm going to give you just enough so that you can be able to tell me if we have enough to prove our case. case. Not the same burden of proof that's required for beyond a reasonable doubt for a conviction, but enough to bring the charges. And that's what was done in this case. They've had a grand jury. The grand jury sent this back. And so now this indictment is here. But these PPP or COVID-related charges is not something new. Looking at numbers, the IRS investigated 1,600 plus people so far. Almost $9 billion with a B dollars have been investigated in the totality. Also, you're talking about 735 plus cases have been brought, and of those, 376 instantly pled. The other folks are still pending, looking for some type of plea. And so those are the type of numbers that are out there. But that $9 billion of folks trying to claw back some of that money that never should have been released.
And I can't get over throughout the broadcast, they're showing these pictures that she took in a jail cell. I'm telling you, her whole campaign was centered around helping incarcerated Black women. No one else. So it's amazing that she was even elected. I mean, you can go and run your organization for that. But no, she wanted to be an official city council member and run the city of Charlotte. Yet she can't even run her personal life. Up here got caught with PPP fraud. She submitted 15 applications. And no, she wasn't given all the money, but she still managed to get her hands on $124,000. Then she's got her daughters wrapped up into the scam too. Ma'am, you can't even lead yourself and your daughters in the right direction. How could you be of any help to the city of Charlotte?
All right, and so I want to back this up a little bit for those that might be tuning in. So you've got Tiawana Brown, her 2 adult daughters, by the way. Wire fraud is really what these charges, conspiracy to commit wire fraud. You're looking at least 15 loan applications that were fraudulent, small business applications, PPP loans, false information, $15,000 spent on a birthday party. We do have a comment. We want to get to this quickly. We've got a comment and a statement from Tiawana Brown this morning. It says these allegations concern actions that took place before I took office. I've always been transparent about my past. I've worked tirelessly to serve my community with integrity and dedication. How do you back that statement up?
You got a couple
integrity and dedication when you've got this in front of you.
So you got a couple things that are happening there. You first talked about the wire fraud charges themselves. So you got to show that you have a scheme to defraud, and then you have intent to defraud, and then you have to use some type of electronic device, phone, computer, text, email, anything like that. You'll check all 3 of those boxes. That's how they'll be able to get you. In terms of the statement, that's probably more on the political side than on the criminal side. What they're saying there is most of the time if a person is charged with a crime while in office, it's going to be an attempt for them to be removed from office because you've done some criminality while there. Her statement is that all these allegations are happening prior to me being elected. So anyone that would say, well, hey, you should be called into question for your ability to serve. Well, your ability to serve while in office is what they were addressing. That's why making the statement of all allegations were done prior to me being in office or alleged to have been done prior to me being in office. That's what they are attempting to hit there with that type of statement, really just to protect the seat.
And honestly, whether the fraud happened before or during her time in office is irrelevant. The bottom line is she committed fraud. Public trust doesn't come with a timestamp. If somebody has a proven history of deception, what's to stop them from doing it again? Especially when you're in a position of power. Tiawana Brown has a documented pattern of fraudulent behavior, and this indictment just adds another chapter to a long-running story that voters should have never ignored in the first place. Get this. If she's convicted and sent to federal prison, this won't be her first time. It won't even be her second time. This will be the OG City Girl Councilwoman's third stay in the federal penitentiary.
Wait a damn minute. Wait a damn.
Khalif, one thing that makes this even more interesting is that Tiawana Brown and fraudulent charges, felony fraud charges, not something new. She served time for this. In federal prison, she became the first formerly incarcerated woman to take a seat on the city council. So does that complicate things at all when you're looking at a criminal history that this person already has a record of it?
And that's why this obsession with being the first this or that to do anything in office is getting tired. They want to celebrate a milestone so bad, they just make up silly stuff. We've reached a point where people are trying to make history out of straight up nonsense. Case in point, calling it some kind of achievement that she's the first former federally incarcerated person to hold a seat on the Charlotte City Council. That's not historic. That's a red flag. If this is what we're holding up as progress, we really need to ask ourselves how low the bar has gotten.
Tiawana Brown is a phenomenal Black woman. I am the daughter of Artie Mae Brown. I am the mother of Antoinette and Tajima.
The Charlotte native doesn't hide her past. She spent time in a federal prison on fraud charges.
Never will I ever be afraid to share something that has impacted my life, my family, the entire world. And so everyone isn't affected by incarceration, especially incarceration of Black women.
Hey, Ebony, I'm outside in front of your apartment, so let's go.
And forgiveness is what you preach. Unconditional love is what you teach. And I just want to be an example. I am a sinner saved by your grace.
So let's get this straight. She's a convicted fraudster who's already done time twice, and yet people still voted her in office. All it took was some performative Black activism, a few speeches about being for Black people, specifically other Black female criminals, because that was her main focus as she communicated every time she got in front of a microphone, and suddenly she's a community hero? She built her entire image around that narrative. And to top it off, she used gospel music like emotional bait, running around playing Negro spirituals in the background to guilt trip and manipulate Black women into thinking she was the best candidate, ignoring all the obvious red flags. I bet if I went around to her district, no one would be able to tell us a thing she's actually done for her people since she took office over a year and a half ago. Nah, they won't be able to tell you a thing besides running around complaining about Black female criminals not getting enough support. Yeah, she's got a million speeches on that. But ma'am, you're a city leader. You have to put more work in than just focusing on that one issue to make it seem like you're doing something for real. Let's go ahead and get the conversation started. Tell me what you think about this below. Shout out to Samuel, Dark Power, Donald, and Rob P. I appreciate all of you for your support. You can show your support as well. The link to PayPal is below. Ladies, fellas, want a balanced analysis, want the truth from a woman's perspective? Then you're going to want to subscribe to this channel. And don't forget to like and share.